Welcome to AVPI on the Wolfkin Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Russell, and today I'm going to be interviewing my cohort, Rick, aka KentosuArmy. Now, Rick and I have been close friends for almost our entire lives, all starting back in kindergarten when we first met under very unusual circumstances.
Was I supposed to say something at the beginning there? Or
No.
All right.
No, you were not.
Did I
It's
just
okay.
mess this up?
No, it's okay. Podcasts are all about slip-ups like this. But yeah, for Rick, and as much as I hate saying it personally, but I know he wouldn't mind it, I've been somewhat of a health support hotline in a way for him, as he's gone through a lot, so I've been there for him most of the time we've been friends. And as far as I'm concerned, we'll continue to be there for him. Now-
Yeah, about that, yep. Just had to get my arm. No reason.
Now,
I just like looking at my arm. Why is that a problem?
our topic for this interview is going to be the music industry, which me and Rick are both a part of and have been for most of the time we've been friends.
Well,
course,
our music industry stuff has started in middle school and not elementary school because...
Well, my musical career started when I was 2 because that's when I first started taking piano lessons. I am a very educated boy.
Yeah, well, clearly...
But then again, one of my mom's friends did try to kid. Anyways, back to the podcast topic. So, I do have a few questions. So in your opinion, Rick, how far would you say we've come in the music industry in the sense of innovations? And I mean, like, the industry as a general, not just us.
Well, I mean, most of our songs can't even hit over 1,000 views. Well, I mean, like, I had one song that was a really big hit, but then when I tried to make a pop-punk remix of it, it just did not go as planned. It was like a remake, almost. Like, same lyrics, but different style of music. And it didn't hit as well. And then my latest one, I think something's wrong with my YouTube app because it keeps on showing no views. But when I talked with one of my friends, it said that it had a lot of views. She said it had she said it showed views on it, but I don't know about that because my YouTube app doesn't like to work properly with showing views.
Wow. Are there any classical artists who you think would have changed up their style a little if they were still alive in our modern setting?
Honestly, maybe Bach, whatever his first name was, you know.
Sebastian.
No, not Sebastian.
Or Johann Sebastian Bach. That's what his name was.
The piano artist.
Yep. Johann Sebastian Bach, I believe.
Yeah, I believe he would have changed up, and maybe also Mozart. But if it's one person,
Amadeus Mozart.
If it's one person I think would not change up their style, is Ludwig von Beethoven.
Yep.
Because
a lot of 3-section names back then. I mean, Johann Sebastian Bach, you've got Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and then you've got Ludwig von Beethoven. Like, what is up with the 3-segment names? And then Chopin, I don't know about Chopin. He was kind of a weirdo.
But
anyways.
No. Back to Ludwig von Beethoven. I mean, like, what can I say? Like, his own music made him deaf, so he couldn't really change up his style anyways.
True.
Because he didn't even know what style he was doing half the time.
True.
And people say that also led to a lot of, like, depression for Beethoven because he couldn't even hear his own music, so yeah.
Yep.
Which people have speculated has led to Beethoven's death because he was just so depressed that he couldn't hear his own music.
So, out of the bands in this time period, which one would you say had the biggest impact on our generation as a whole?
Okay, I'm going to have to say, of this generation? Bands of this generation? I'd have to say, I've been listening to this band a lot lately. They're in my emo playlist. It's a band known as Citizen Soldier. I think they've made a big impact lately because they make songs that are about, like, hey, you're not alone in this problem with, like, body dysmorphia, depression, suicidal thoughts, like anything like that. They they are actually really good for showing, like, hey, you're not alone. You can get through this. We're there for you when you don't have anyone else to help you out.
So for those of you who might have tuned in with someone in your family who's watching, I'm here with my cohort Rick, who has been a close friend of mine for almost our entire lives, on the topic of the music industry and various innovations which have been made over the years, from classical masterpieces to more modern hits. So, Rick, if you had to say, how much variety would you say we have when it comes to music in this day and age, and on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I'd have to say, for variety, I'd say it'd have to be a 10, because we've got a lot of variety. We've got country, we've got pop punk, we've got emo rock, we've got, well, I don't know what we would classify Citizen Soldier as they are a rock band, but they have, like, different styles. Sometimes they do piano, sometimes they don't. And then you've got...
I'd still classify that as rock because, I mean, pretty sure certain, like, Foo Fighters songs have piano in them. Or, like, a good example of a band that uses piano in their songs, even though they're heavier, is The Amity Affliction, which not many... I don't know how many people who will be watching this will know who they are, but they're a really great band. But in their song Drag the Lake, the entire intro is piano, and they're considered metal, so I wouldn't be surprised if Citizen Soldier was considered rock.
Well, then you've got other other musics like, a mix of country and rock, and then you've got a mix of, like, genres actually mixed together. Like, EDM could mix with, like, I don't know, rock, and you've got like a dance rock kind of song.
Right.
So, honestly, a lot of variety, 10 out of 10 with the variety. So, next question, please.
So, as of now in the music industry, many genres have erupted into view, from alternative and country to metal and hip-hop. But in your opinion, which genre would you say isn't necessarily needed?
Everybody's got their own niche of genre. Everybody's got their songs that they like and all that. So, honestly, to my opinion, I think every genre is needed in some way, except for one. And you could probably tell what I'm going to say here, because you know me and how I feel about this type of music, as I used to sing in a choir for this type of music, but then I left this place and never went back. I'm talking, of course, about gospel music. As I used... Okay, a little story time. I used to be a choir boy in a church. And honestly, it's something I regret.
So, how often do you find yourself listening to music, and how much of variety would you say you listen to?
Well... Mostly, I listened to... Actually, before you dragged me into this podcast thing, I was actually listening to a playlist of Imagine Dragons songs. So, I listen to music almost every part of my day. But when I'm not listening to music, I usually am, like, either writing music or I'm watching a YouTube video. So, I do other things besides making and listening to music. So, you have that, okay?
If any, and to clarify on this, I mean a band you feel that is just kind of lackluster, but what band would you say should break up?
Okay, so no band really deserves to break up, because, that's bad, but if I can I flip the question on its head a bit?
Yeah.
If it's one band that I want to get back together completely, it would have to be Blink-182. I mean, like, they're coming back for a tour, but they're not going to be completely back together. They're just going ahead and they're just doing like a few shows together. But I think they should stay together and make more music. I mean, just look at NSYNC. They came back together and made more music.
So, one final question before we wrap up. Which band would you say rose up the furthest after being towards the bottom for most of their career?
Okay, I don't know how to answer this one, but if I had to say, I'd have to say Panic at the Disco.
Thanks for tuning in, for those of you who did. This has been AVPI on the Wolfkin Podcast with Mike and Rick. See you next episode and stay safe out there.
Peace.